Hey everyone, and welcome back to a Kingdom Hearts world exploration. Today we're looking at the Caribbean from Kingdom Hearts 3, my favourite world from this game, and the one that I feel best represents the spirit of exploring and adventure. This video is really about the world itself. What I'm going to do is tour the areas and show some points of interest and cool spots. We're not talking about the bosses or the story, anything like that. It's all about the setting and the experience that provides. And to begin our exploration, let's have a look around the largest land area, Port Royal. Here we are on the docks. Let's walk over and talk to Gibbs, voiced by Kevin McNally.
Perhaps the folk here can be divested of a secret or a shilling or two.
He's actually the only returning actor from the Pirates movies in this game. Heading onto the shore, we can do a spot of people watching. It's quite a bustling place, and it's really a fairly large area, so no wonder that this is one of the laggiest spots in the game when you're playing on weaker hardware. These 18th century folks are just as easily entertained by barrel tricks as any of the NPCs in the game, it seems. I wonder what this guy's thinking about. Over here is a cozy corner of crates and supplies. We can have a bit of fun running across the roof, or we can take shelter from the Caribbean sun inside. Don't mind the coffins, or this guy rooting around for something. I wonder what he's up to. Definitely some marital problems going on over here. Over on this side are some trade stores and a Brickwork Lucky emblem to remind us who's in charge. Shh, I'm hiding from the copyright mouse. I don't know why I enjoy this so much. We can take the Trinity sled up this dockside path and oh, look at that, an even better hiding place. This will lead us to the settlement, the town area of Port Royal, certainly more lively than what we got in KH2, although it was set at night in that game to be fair, and it's an older game, but it's a totally different vibe at night time. Of course, one can run up the walls and glide over everything here, but I think it's much more interesting to walk through slowly and admire the details, like this couch and breeches shop, whatever that means, or on the front side are Smith Pewterers. Now, right here is the smithy that Will works at in the first movie, complete with the statue that Jack hides behind to escape the guards, and even the hanging sign. It's hard to see in the dark, but it says J. Brown, and it's exactly alike to the one in the movie. Honestly, if I had my way, I'd get rid of wall running and really high jumps and make this an actual platforming area. But hey, it's still a nice view from up here either way. It'd just be cool if you could platform your way up, and then once you're at the top, you get the glide from later on in the game, and you got rewarded for climbing all the way up because now you can glide over things, rather than just immediately get to the top, you know. That's just my opinion on those things. These two are apparently trying to understand what chimneys are. I forgot I had a camera mod on and ended up zooming way closer to these apples than I meant to. Alright, let's stop fooling around and head on down to the seaport. This is a familiar area from the movies and indeed in Kingdom Hearts 2 as well. And yes, there's a chest under this bridge. Over here by the shack are some rowboats. Jack and Will use one of these to steal a ship in the first movie. I don't think it's very physics accurate, but there it is. This may be an adaptation of At World's End, but really there's a lot of love for the first movie in this game, which makes sense because Port Royal has the biggest role in that one. Oh, looks like we got some more arguing. Now, I'd be remiss not to show the underwater area. There's nothing specific to talk about here, but I quite enjoy the extra exploration it gives, and the controls feel pretty good. There's stuff underwater in most of the main islands in this world. Enemies, breakable objects, ingredients, and a few chests. It definitely gives an extra dimension to the gameplay. And hey, just look how cool this is. Okay, let's leave the settlement and head up to the fort. We've got two paths here, one along the shoreline. Oh, let me just check. Nope, no chest under this bridge. Now this one leads us up to the lower entrance of the fort. Or we can go from the distillery here up to this picturesque waterfall and bridge area. No chest under here either, and no getting behind the waterfall. But if we head down, now here's a waterfall I can get behind, complete with chests and a hidden stash. Now how cool is that? Oh, and there is a branching path leading to a cliff overlooking the port. We get a good look at our ships here, the Leviathan on the left, and the Black Pearl on the right, bobbing happily side by side. Now let's have a proper look at the fort. Running in from this side, we visit the cells. This poor sod here is probably going to be hanged tomorrow. Sorry man, you're not a character, you don't get to escape. If only we had some leverage, eh? Here's Jack with the old ball and chain. Not just any ball and chain though, a Disney one! It's like a metaphor for my channel. What the hell are you two doing? Up the stairs we go, hang a left, and there's the watermelon flan offering a minigame. Not too bad of one either. Running around in the open air part of the fort is pretty cool, and it offers what's got to be the best view in this world. A wonderful in-game rendition of this Jamaican port. And obviously I have to mention the flag, which is a lot more animated than our old buddy from Neverland in KH1. There's no diagonal red stripes here because those represent the Cross of St. Patrick, which was not added to the flag until Ireland's union with Britain. You can ring the bell. I mean, what kind of game would it be if you couldn't? I also love that you can jump off from here and glide or swim right back to the port, or conversely climb the ship's mast and head directly back to the fort. That was a rhyme, yes. While we're here, let's have a look at the Black Pearl, since I'll be taking the Leviathan out to the open sea. It's very nice to see her again, and I like that they let you sail either ship once you've leveled all the way up. They even have different stats, which is a nice attention to detail. So it's time to leave port and off to adventure in the high seas. This is a very large open space dotted with islands we can visit, with some interesting features to look at. You don't have to sail here technically, gliding or swimming works too, but clearly it would take a very long time to get anywhere if you did that. I do want to show you what it's like to dive into the sea here though. We hit an invisible floor not too far in, but it's still quite eerie down here, presented with the vast abyss below. The ocean is a scary place. We do get a map to help us navigate this zone. Some of the islands are named and available to visit. There's crosses because I've already been to them. Others, like this one here, they're just big rocks. There's nowhere to land on them. Let's approach this in a roughly anti-clockwise rotation. First up is the Gateway of Regret, a small arch clearly referencing the warning to pirates that Jack sails past in Curse of the Black Pearl, but of course there's no hanging bodies in this sanitized E10 Plus game. West of that is Isla de los Mastillas, which means Isle of Masts. Here we have a sunlit beach complete with an underwater section, and beyond we can do a little spelunking. Inside many of the Caribbean caves there are these piles of gold you can actually gain money from. It's not a lot, but it's a nice interaction. There's a small underwater section after this with a decent few crabs to upgrade the ship with. Alternatively, one could explore the top side of the island, a few rocks to jump across and a steep drop to a sheltered pool, wherein lies 3 treasure chests, a nice find to be sure. Confinement Isle consists of a little cove tucked away in the island's centre. Plenty of crabs to collect here, and initially there's a chest that sets off waves of enemies to fight. I quite like the sheltered nature of this island, it feels somewhat cozy. To the north, Forsaken Isle is a tiny spit of land, serving as your final stop before the Maelstrom battle at the end of the story. A save point and Moogle shop are available, but otherwise there's nothing really to see here. Isla Verdemontagne, or Green Mountain Isle, is one of the largest in the zone. We start off with a beach again, and let's head up this rocky staircase on the left. This takes us up to the island jungle, filled with Power Wild Heartless, as probably a nice reference to Deep Jungle from the first game. We can climb up the sheer rock face. Oh, hey, there's my ship. Otherwise, going right here takes us to a denser jungle, and once again we can climb, this time all the way to the highest point of the island. There's a view onto the beach we started at, and on the other side is a big rock formation in the image of our Lord and Saviour. Dropping down here takes us to the shady side of the beach, just around the corner from the save point. The Isle of Luck is pretty simple. A bunch of rocks and sand, and guess what it's named after? Horseshoe Island is a much bigger arch than the Gateway of Poor Decisions, and it's got a sizable beach area to run around in, and even act out a dune recreation. This rocky area off to the side seems like a perfect place to slip and get a few nasty scrapes. I'm sure many of us have memories of visiting beaches as children and ending up injured. Now the archway itself, never mind. Exile Island is a small circular bit of land with a lot of vegetation and a nice chunky chest in the middle. I bet it's a good place to get some supplies for a raft as well. The Huddled Isles, well, kind of speaks for itself really. They're a collection of islands huddled together. A lot of the story content of this world takes place here, including a giant fish boss fight. The area mostly consists of underwater caves and tunnels to navigate, even a shipwreck to explore, which I'm always a fan of. Look at this Ray living his best life. Now, I feel like I remember someone mentioning a big fish or a whale or something out in the sea, but I can't find that now. Maybe it was lost on Twitter, or maybe I'm just imagining it and I'm thinking of this Ray instead. If you know anything, do post it in the comments below. This vast and somewhat eerie space is where you fight the big fish. What was its name? Oh right, Lightning Angler. Up through these currents we come out into the light, this cavern, where we found the Leviathan for the first time. The Caribbean Battlegate is here, and now we can find a way out back to the ship. Oh, but worth mentioning is this narrow cut into the rocks. It's a pretty good place to find crabs. The second to last stop on our journey is Ship's End, appropriately titled for this beached shipwreck, and this one that was branded for heresy. There's a lot of shipwrecks here actually, and more to explore underwater. Through this cave takes us to a deeply sunken ship, and then up to the underside of that first ship we saw, breaking back through to the surface. I think this is one of the coolest pieces of level design in this world. It's really selling the fantasy, you know? And finally, my favourite island in the Caribbean is Sandbar Isle, tucked away at the southeast. I really love the isolated feel of this island, it's very idyllic. Now here we have a ring of sand that's circling a shallow underwater area. There's a few chests here, but if you want even more, well, head up these rocks and dive down into this central pit. In here is a side chamber with 8 whole chests, which feels like a well-earned reward for sailing all the way out here to this remote island. Oh yeah, and there's 2 lucky emblems. And we come to the end of our journey. The way they've designed not only a faithful and interesting Port Royal, but all these different islands, each having their own unique design, I think the developers did a wonderful job here. It's no wonder this is far and away my favourite world in Cage 3. Nothing comes close to this for me. It's based on my favourite Disney movies, it's full of exploration and treasure hunting, it's set at sea, I love that, there's ship battles, and not to mention, it's just lovely and tranquil to be in. Oh, and there's even secret boss ships to fight. So I'm going to go off script just to end this video. There was a slight issue with this video, it took longer to get out than I wanted, because I was recording on a new PC for the first time, and my OBS wasn't set correctly, and it ended up at 720p, so I had to redo a bunch of recordings for the Port Royal area. But it's okay because I kind of just did it like I explored on my own first, I wrote down stuff, I wrote a script, and then I did a second pass where I actually recorded everything, and I did the voiceover, which I'm doing right now. So yeah, it was quite a good way of doing it, I think. Now I don't know if I'm going to do it for other worlds in this game, or even the franchise, you know. The thing is, the Caribbean, I like it a lot more than any other world in Cage 3. And I just feel like, take Arendelle for example, I mean, what would I say? I'll just be going around like, hey, there's some snow, there's some trees, there's some ice. You know, I can't see how that would be that interesting, but I can have a look and see if maybe I can do like a mini episode, or like, here's some of the top most interesting things, I don't know, something like that. Or maybe I can do things that are a bit more broad about the game itself. But the Caribbean is one I just really wanted to do because I love this world so much. So, yep, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, hopefully. Bye-bye.